Yo guys, back again for another Ogre video. My old one's like God knows how many years old now, so with the new DLC out and you know, brand new mechanics to go over and complete changes to so many things. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna focus on the Ogre mechanics in general and not so much the mechanics that are specific to gold, because I there are plenty of videos that go over, especially in Creative Assembly goes over them as well, the like his teleportation mechanic, his contract mechanic, and stuff like that. I want to focus on the things that I have discovered from playing that aren't mentioned in the blog, that are like tips and tricks. So first things first, I think I should start with camps because they are extremely important to ogres. So, as you guys probably know, camps are entirely built from meat now, and their armies have no upkeep, so you can recruit an entire giant like stack of doom in here and not worry about the money costs. One thing to note is that camp buildings. This is actually pretty nice and pretty important in my opinion. If you look here, you can see how much meat I'm making per turn. So if you see where it says circle of influence is 16, characters is 10, and then buildings is 45. So the circle of influence that says 16 is from this building, giving meat generated 16 to armies in circle of influence. So this camp is giving itself 16 meat. I'm going to turn down voices. I know that was a problem in one of my previous videos. Actually, I don't know if I can. Can I? Beach. Yeah, let's turn that off for now. Nice. Okay. The characters is from the skill tree. He is getting 5 meat from Tithe Taker, and he is getting 5 meat from Campin'. So those are 2. And then the other 45, and this is the interesting thing, is from other camps. So this meat building here that gives meat in a radius does give meat to other camps. So, for example, this is the province where Scrag starts. And this is meat paradise. So there are 2 cities in this province that have the pasture building, and the pasture building gives 15 meat to all armies in local province. And this, I'm pretty sure, I'm not pretty sure, I've done the math. I'm like 99.9% sure. This affects camps. So if you have, if you have 1 camp in each, you still can only have 1 camp in each region. So if you have 1 camp in each region of this province, and each of them builds the meat building, they can then give the other camps meat, while also getting meat from this mountain ranch. And then on top of that, the this right here in Doc Karaz has salt, and salt at tier 3 disables meat upkeep for units, all armies in local and adjacent provinces. So if you own this city, you can actually get rid of the meat upkeep for any army that's in this province. So if you're trying to, you can like, what's funny is you can actually make like I would call it like a meat battery, so to speak, because like this army that's sitting here, I have an army recruiting here. This army is making 56 meat a turn right now. And so that would happen for any army you have. So if you have the money, you could recruit like 6 lords, or what, any number of lords that you want, you can afford. You could put like 5 lords in this province, and each of them would be earning 56 money a turn. Or sorry, meat. They'd be earning 56 meat a turn. And so every turn you'd be getting, like 336 meat or something, and you could transfer that to a camp, while each camp is also earning, 50 or 60 meat a turn. So even though even though Creative Assembly in their blog posts and content creators and stuff have talked about how ogres really need to like push forward and sack or complete bounties or complete contracts, etc., to earn meat, there are like strategies and pathways that you can take to what I would say is like build tall. Like you could totally consolidate all your forces inside like a single province and just like really start just stacking the meat up per turn. Now, it's definitely slower than going out and conquering. But if you still want to play ogres tall like you were able to in before the DLC released, you totally can. And continuing on with that theme of building tall, this building here, the growth building. I like how it's still called the growth building, even though it doesn't give any growth anymore. As you can see, at tier 5, it reduces the upkeep of armies in the circle of influence by 50%, and this stacks with other camps. So as you can see, I have 3 camps here, and all 3 camps have this building at tier 3, which is 90% upkeep reduction, and then this lord has a little bit of upkeep reduction in his tech tree. So this army right now costs nothing. This army has no upkeep whatsoever. So if you want to have, you could have, and this is actually even more insane than it used to be in the pre DLC, because in pre DLC, in my old video, I mentioned how you could garrison your armies inside your camps to reduce their upkeep while you were building tall. Well, it's even better in post DLC because now your armies don't need to be garrisoned at all to have upkeep reduction. Your armies just need to be in range of 2 camps, and they are free. Well, 2 tier 5 camps. So, like, imagine you're playing Scrag, and you want to just consolidate all your forces in the meat paradise, as I called it, and, just stack your meat, build your camps, etc., etc. You could have all of your armies stay within range of these 3 camps, and you'd be making, your army upkeep would be 0. You would have 3 camps and 3 cities making you money. And then there's any trade agreements you could make and stuff like that. So you would have a pretty decent economy while also having incredible defensive capabilities because you could have, you could support 3 armies if you wanted to inside this little zone because their upkeep would be nothing. And you can do this with any ogre, as long as you have 2 tier 5 camps within range of each other. Like for example, this camp right here, this is only 1 camp, and I've already reduced an army like this with a bunch of man eaters, thunder tusks, iron blasters. It's only 2 grand. Similar army, and this is 4 grand because it's outside of the range. But just goes to show you that ogres building tall is it's better now in terms of money. Your camp growth will be slower, but if you can, there are ways to cheese that. But I'll get to that. We'll start that now. So one of the cheese strategies that I figured out is that lords always spawn with 50 meat. So in my testing, what I started doing is I recruited 1,000,000 paymasters because they only cost 800 gold to recruit, and every paymaster, every lord spawns with 50 meat. So you can recruit a lord, and you can transfer his meat to the cares just a random camp. Transfer his 50 meat, put in a skill point, and then respec him. And now, 3 turns later, he'll be back with 50 more meat. And you can do this I have 3 camps here and a province, so I could recruit 4 lords a turn. That's 200 meat. So I could have 3 armies here, each making 50 meat a turn. I have 3 camps here, each making 50 meat a turn. I could have 4 lords recruited per turn, and that's 200 meat. And not to mention, like, don't forget that once you've recruited a lord, to re-recruit them costs no gold. So once you spend this initial 800 gold cost, like this 50 meat that you get is free. Like there's that small upfront cost, but the meat over time is completely free. Now, I won't lie to you, in the late game, if you're attacking and sacking, this is pretty unnecessary. I think this is like if you want to be like super optimal in like the first like 20 or 30 turns or something, because this can give you like an extra little bit of meat to build like income buildings or get to the next tier of your starting camp, something like that. But like, as you can see, gold here. My other lord, like I've got these guys have got 4,000 meat apiece. I've got 2 lords here with like this guy's got 7,000, this guy's got 2,000, or that's the camp. This guy's got 6,000, and like every camp here has got like 2 grand or like 600, something crazy, and all their buildings are being made. So once you get to a certain point, you will be making so much meat that it doesn't that lord strat doesn't matter. But I thought I'd just mention it because this is a tips and tricks video, and that is a tip or a trick. So don't want to lie. Moving on. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is what I think is probably the most unintended mechanic. So as you might have guessed, like with Ogres before the DLC and Ogres now, there is still a camp limit, and you get increased camp limit by either researching the tech or having tier 5 camps with this tech, or you can also get +1 camp limit, I believe, from Greas's skill tree. However, there appears to be either an oversight. I don't know if this is intended or not. I'm going to assume it's not intended. But as you can see, I am currently over the camp limit. And what's funny here is I'm just going to show you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pack up these 2 camps. I'm going to pack up 3 camps, actually. Let's see here. Only camp not building buildings. Oh, I can't do that. I'll just cancel this. Oh, also another tip and trick. While I'm doing this, if you pack up a camp while it's building buildings, those buildings will get reset. So, for example, this building or this camp is 2 turns from tier 5. If I pack up this camp, when I redeploy it, I will have to re-queue the tier 5 building. So if you just remember that if you're like, if you're 1 or 2 turns from getting to the next tier from completing a building, let that finish before you pack up a camp, because if you pack up a camp and redeploy it, you'll have to restart that structure all over again. I haven't tested or paid attention to whether or not it refunds the meat cost of a building when you pack up a camp. I don't think it does, but I'm not entirely sure. I do know for a fact, though, that if you disband a lord, like this lord has 700 meat, if you disband a lord or respec a lord or whatever, and if you do that and they have like this much meat, when you re-recruit them, they will only have 50 meat. So before you respec a lord or disband a lord, make sure you give all of their meat to a camp, because they always spawn with 50. Moving on, though. So we're going to pack up this camp. So now we are under the limit of the camps. You can see here we're at 7 out of 8. So these camps are all set to redeploy. Now what you can do is you can just do this. You can just recruit a camp, and you can immediately pack it up. You can recruit a camp, and you can immediately pack it up. And we can recruit another camp, and we can pack that up. camp. And pick that up. Alright. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 camps at our disposal. So we have a total of 15 camps that we can possibly deploy. Now, this is the oversight that I'm talking about that Creative Assembly must have like overlooked or forgotten, is that redeploying camps can go over the camp limit. So just to reiterate, you can redeploy as many camps as you want regardless of the camp limit. So even though my camp limit is 8, it doesn't matter if they're being redeployed. So I can just I'll just end my turn and show you guys. Actually I can't because I only have 1 camp. But anyway, you saw before I did this that I had 10 camps deployed, even though my limit is 8. So redeploying a camp lets you go over the limit, and redeploying a camp does not cost meat. I don't care what the content creators told you. I don't care what you saw. I'm telling you right now that if I hire a lord, with 50 meat, let's see here, good test. I'm just gonna recruit a lord here. We're gonna end our turn. I'm just gonna do some quick editing for this. Okay, here we are on the next turn. So as you can see, this lord has 65 meat. Now, as you probably know, it costs 250 meat to deploy a new camp. Camp cannot deploy camp. The army has insufficient meat. Well, guess what? This camp is a redeploy. This is not a new camp. This is me redeploying a camp that I have packed up. And this doesn't cost anything. If you saw before I deployed that camp had 4,000 meat before I deployed it, and it still has 4,000 meat. So it doesn't take meat from the camp. It doesn't take meat from the lord. It is just straight up free. The only thing you have to wait for the only cost, air quotes, in packing up and deploying a camp is the wait time. That's it. There's no you can redeploy a camp for free. And the reason why this is important is because say you want to like if you want to this is important in the early game because there are plenty of times in the early game where you're going to want the replenishment of a camp, or you're going to want like the garrison of a camp, or you're going to want to use a camp as like ambush bait or something. And it's hard to do that when making a new camp because your lord might not have the meat in the early game. So I would highly recommend in the early game, just when you get like a good stockpile of meat, just like do what I did last turn, where I recruited like 5 or 6 camps, and just have them waiting in the wings just to deploy whenever you need them. It helps a ton. Now, and even if Creative Assembly does fix this, what I would call a bug, where you can go over your camp limit, even if they fix this. If they make it so that redeploying a camp is still free, I still think that this strategy is important, where you're gonna want to have multiple camps on standby in your like camp pool, I guess you would call it. So yeah, I think that's all. I think that I've thoroughly covered the camp redeployment exploit. I think it's an exploit. It's so like the fact that I could have like 20 camps if I wanted to, which I think is insane. But anyway, moving on. One thing to note is camps still have recruit a lord here. Ah, good old Scrag. Oh, it's just oh my. Here, let me load a save. You're back. Okay, I am back. I have loaded a save where before I packed up my tier 5 camps. And I wanted to show you guys this real quick. So ogres still have, as you can see the recruit ranks here, ogres still have the stacking recruit rank where if you have multiple camps inside the same province and they have this building built that gives recruit rank +1 local province, you can recruit units at like, you know, rank 9, rank 7, something crazy. So if I recruit a lord here, you know, we just recruit this guy, give him all that, and boom, we're recruiting at rank 8. So, very, very good. And it's why I would definitely try and have either recruit provinces or just make sure that whenever you want to recruit a new army, try and have 2 high tier camps in the same province when you do it, because a tier 5 camp will give you +6 to recruit rank, and then your lord only needs to have draft master, and boom, they'll be recruiting at rank 7. So that would be my recommendation. Okay, next mechanic I'll go over is confederation. As you might have seen, I did confederate Scrag. You can confederate other ogre lords now by killing their legendary lord. So I don't know if your legendary lord has to kill theirs. That might be the case. I'm not quite sure. I know in this playthrough I did fight Scrag with Golg, and that is how I confederated him. One little caveat though is that if you're playing as Golg, you cannot confederate an ogre by killing them if they are your contract target. So I was fighting Scrag, and Scrag was one of my enemies for my contract, and killing him did not give me the confederation option. You have to kill them through just a regular old war, not via a contract. One thing that's cool to note about Golg specifically is that Golg can teleport to his contract target. So what you can do is in the early game, what I did was I recruited a fire belly from my camp, and I sent my fire belly down here to discover this area, and I waited until I got a contract close to here, and then you can use that to teleport Golg down here, and then once you teleport down here, you can cancel the contract, make peace with the enemies, and then find Scrag, kill him, and confederate him. It's very, very easy to do this as Golg. Like, it's almost like it's a little like almost too good. Because because ogres have no trespass penalties and Golg can make peace with his contract enemies, you can teleport down here, make peace, and just all you have to do is just walk around and find Scrag and wait until he's alone, and then kill him, and he's yours. And you can do the same thing with Greasus over here in the mountains. I don't think I have, like, let's see here. Eric Azul, do I have a contract close to? Perfect, right here. Clan Rictus. I could teleport to any of Clan Rictus' cities, which I think this is a Clan Rictus city. I could teleport here and then just start searching for Greasus. And then I could kill him, and boom, I've confederated Greasus as well. So extremely easy for Golg to confederate the other ogres. Greasus has a tyrant demand where he can buy a settlement for I believe it's 25,000 gold. So what you can do is Greasus, if you really want to, you could send a hero up here to where Golg spawns, and you could buy a settlement using Greasus' tyrant demands. You could then recruit a lord you could recruit a lord at the settlement you bought, recruit all of your regiments of renown into that lord, and maybe some ogre bulls or something. And then once you find Golg, this is the funny thing, Greasus also has a tyrant demand where he can disband all non-character units in an army. So Greasus could find Golg, disband his entire army, declare war on him, and then kill Golg because Golg will only have, like, you know, it'll be him and a couple of heroes. And your lord with the regiments of renown will easily win that fight. And then you confederated him. And you can do the same thing for Scrag too if you wanted to. But honestly, because ogres don't have any trespass penalties, it's entirely within the realm of possibility that you just send a lord over to kill Scrag, without even like teleporting. It's only like maybe like a ogres also have access. Ogres also have access to the underway stance now, so you could totally just, like, you know, walk across and then underway stance through the mountains and be there in, like, I don't know, 10 turns, something like that. So confederations as Greasus and Golg are pretty simple. Scrag is gonna have to walk there, but Scrag does have campaign movement range as a faction effect, I believe. So Scrag has to walk, but he does walk a little faster, so not the worst. I'm going to talk about hunters now. I don't think I need to talk about bruisers or butchers. They're pretty self-explanatory. But hunters have gotten a update to their unique skill line, and this is pretty important in my opinion because it gives all beast units speed, stalk, upkeep reduction, frenzy, weapon strength, and I believe there was Vanguard deployment here too, wasn't there? Oh yeah, there it is. Vanguard deployment as well. So, and one thing to remember is that all these buffs stack. So the speed stacks, the upkeep stacks, the recruit rank stacks, uh, and the weapon strength I believe also stacks. So if you want to run like a beast heavy army, I would highly recommend. I've started doing it, putting two heroes or two hunter heroes in your armies that you can have much cheaper. Like this right here, like my Thunder Tusks are cheaper than my Iron Blasters in this army. Just to, you know, give you an example. Um, and my Thunder Tusk here has 624 weapon strength compared to. Do I have one recruited somewhere I can show off? Yes, this is only 480. Now these are lower rank, of course, but I don't believe rank gives weapon strength. It does not. So 624 weapon strength is purely from uh it's from this giving 10% and for my two hunter heroes. So between the paymaster and two hunter heroes, they're getting 30% increased weapon strength while also having reduced upkeep, stock, vanguard deployment, and speed. Like like dude, 80 my Thunder Tusks could run down heavy cavalry. That's how fast they are. So if you're doing a beast heavy army, definitely put two hunter. I would focus on hunter hero capacity. And so like I've been building hunter hero capacity in my cities. I make sure to build it in each camp. Definitely something to focus on, and I wouldn't be surprised if this skill line here gets hit with the nerf bat. I think at the bare minimum, I think Creative Assembly will remove stock for the big monsters. But we'll see if everything else sticks around. I know that there's a lot of like Heroes Army buffs that stack for other factions. Like I know that like having Warlock Engineers or Dwarf Engineers or Empire Engineers and stuff like that, stacking those in an army is also a strategy. So it could be that this is intended and this won't change. Oh, you know what else? This is 624 weapon strength without the extra 10% from Frenzy too. So these guys are hitting like absolute fucking trucks, which is kind of crazy. So another thing I will mention is Ogre cities. I know in Creative Assembly's blog post that they mentioned that Ogre cities could be considered like you can take ogres, you can take settlements and consider them as strategic outposts or strategic settlements or disposable outposts. Now, while Creative Assembly says that, I think that taking cities as ogres, is it necessary? No, because you can, as I've already showed, you can have a million fucking camps right now, so you don't need to take cities. However, um, you can build every hero. You can get hero capacity for every hero in cities now, so cities are much better than they were pre DLC. The Ogre economy building was also 150 gold at tier 3. Now it's 400 gold at tier 3. To be fair, it does cost 4,000 gold to get the final upgrade, but you have to remember that you're not spending money on building camp buildings anymore. So there's a lot less upfront, there's a lot less gold spending that ogres need compared to before. So while this is a lot of money, I think in the long run, it's probably worth it. It does take quite a few turns to pay back, though. This will take maybe whatever, 150, 4,000 divided by 150 is a lot, more than I'd like. But I do think that settlements are important for ogres. And in case you missed the landmark videos that some people have shown, landmarks are extremely important for ogres. Well, not I shouldn't say extremely important, but they are to be sought after, and they can provide powerful bonuses. This is the exotic animals. This provides meat in local province. We always love having meat, and it gives recruitment for Stonehorns and Thunder Tusks at tier 3, Forgers, Yetis, and Giants at tier 2, and Blood Vultures and Saber Tusks at tier 1. So this this little minor settlement, if you build it with the exotic animals, you can start recruiting Thunder Tusks and Stonehorns at tier 3. Like this is and Scrag spawns right here. Like, just to put that in perspective, like if you start playing a campaign as Scrag, you can have an absolutely ridiculous army early if you beeline it for this city. So definitely something to think of. And don't forget, you can search for landmark locations like exotic animals via this menu up here. So you can find where all of the exotic animals are spawn. So like this right here, that's not that close to Greasus, but actually no, Greasus has exotic animals right here, I believe, in this tree. Don't know. Haunted Forest? Yeah. So also has Greasus. So Greasus spawns right here, and he has exotic animals right here that he can get. So Greasus as well could get Thunder Tusks pretty damn early. Also very good to put a camp in there to get some meat. Meat. Okay. I sat here for about 5 minutes thinking what else there is for me to tell you. And I think I have run out of things to talk about, even though it's been... I mean, I'm not surprised considering it's been 30 damn minutes. Holy shit, what a long video. I'm so sorry, but hopefully someone likes this. Anyway, the final tip that I will leave you guys with is that you can damn near endlessly sack a settlement for, like, I wouldn't say infinite meat, but no, it is infinite meat. It's infinite meat. So if you have a settlement that you take, so first things first, you're gonna want to camp in range. You go over here, you fight your settlement, or you fight your battle. So I just got 2,000 gold for fighting this. Like that's gold. Sorry, I got 2,000 meat for fighting this. So we're gonna sack this for some more meat, and we're gonna back off. We're gonna recruit some stuff too, because we just lost some units. Then we're also gonna recruit a lord. I find I don't know. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I've found that I earn exponentially more meat if I have a reinforcing lord. Like for some reason, like I'll earn maybe, you know, 1,000 meat from a lord on his own, but then if I have a lord reinforce him, the main lord will earn maybe like 800 meat, and the reinforcing lord will earn 600. So instead of 1,000 meat, I made 1,400 meat. So anyway, we just sacked this city. So let me just end my turn. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've ended my turn. So this city, as you can see, has gotten its garrison back. It's just it's a tier. This is a tier 1. This is a tier 1 damaged outpost for the Wood Elves. All right, now we're gonna attack it again. I've got my army. I've got my reinforcing lord. 800 meat. 800 meat from a tier 1 damaged settlement. And 3,000 gold in post-battle loot. So not only did Donald, and like, look at this. This lord had 50 meat. My secondary lord got 840 meat out of that battle. So you can just continue, and the reason why this only is like this because of the camp. This building is giving 50% increased meat gain from battles in Circle of Influence, and then 10% meat gain for all armies. And then the Lord itself has a skill here where meat gain from battles is plus 150% for armies in Circle of Influence. So if you have a camp, and like you like, this is a tier 5 camp, so it's like it's an insane amount of meat. But even if you have like a tier 3 camp or something, as soon as your Lord has this skill, as soon as your Lord has like 2 points in this skill, you can start chain sacking a tier 1 settlement over and over again. And if you're doing it with 2 lords, you will get over 1,000 meat a turn. This is like the second thing that I think is a little exploity. I don't know if this is exploitative enough for Creative Assembly to care. I know that they have bigger fish to fry and a lot bigger bugs to deal with, and I think the last thing they give a shit about is the ogres making too much meat. Cause like, just to put it in perspective, like, I know there's a couple of us out there that love ogres, but there's not a single post on the subreddit as of making this video. There's no post about the ogres that is on the front page. The front page of the subreddit is all corn and greenskins. So even with the ogres' insane glow up and some of these extremely like overpowered mechanics that I've shown you guys in this video, I I don't think anybody fucking cares. I don't think they care. So I wouldn't expect any of these things to get nerfed anytime soon. If they do, oh well. But I mean, some of this stuff is kind of crazy. Like the fact that you can just, you know, fight a tier 1 city over and over again, and just, you know, create so much meat out of thin air. Like this is enough meat to get a tent from tier 1 to tier like 4 almost, depending on like your researches and the skill tree and stuff. And if I do it again next turn, I'll have another 2,000 meat, and you see how crazy it gets. So anyway, this video is already almost 40 minutes, man. Holy shit, what have I done? I hope this helps. I hope this video helps somebody. Maybe this is just, you know, this isn't an ogre video, it's an ogre podcast at this point. So anyway, thanks for watching, and yep, have a good day or night or whatever. And I really hope I didn't miss anything important. I probably did, but it is what it is. All right. Oh, bounties are still trash. So there you go. Bye.